And sharp focus falls on the challenges faced by disabled women in the workplace. Now, there's still an urgent need to positively address learning and employment opportunities for South Africans with disabilities to become more integrated into the workforce, increasing awareness of the rights of people with disabilities as equal citizens in society, and speeding up equal access to socio-economic opportunities is more crucial than ever. One woman who's beat these odds is Tunusha Naidu. Born blind, she's the founder and director of Able Consulting, a company that facilitates the inclusion of competent and constructive, differently abled employees into the workplace. Good afternoon, Tunusha, and welcome to the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon, Kashni.
Tunusha, you feel strongly about educating all South Africans on abilities rather than the disabilities of those with physical challenges. What does that entail exactly?
You know, I think that the problem begins with this word disability and that prefix dis, which comes before the word ability. And that is what has changed the mindsets of people, leading to these misconceptions that they have about people who are differently abled. So the perception is that people with challenges or impairments are disabled and incapable, dependent people who are not capable of functioning. So the aim of ABLE is to educate and integrate and inspire others to understand that differently abled people have a positive role to play in South African society. And the way that this can be achieved, as I said, is through education. People need to learn about differently abled people, that we're just the same as everybody else. We need to learn to be mindful about each other and respect each other's differences, and understand that we all have a role to play. And another important tool in bringing about this change is integration. You know, seclusion and inclusion becomes a big problem where people are not exposed to each other. So this is what I aim to bring about through ABLE, to break down these barriers.
Tunusha, on that point, in your line of work, you come across many corporates even. How are South African companies doing when it comes to integrating those with disabilities into the workplace? And what are some of the challenges or barriers to such integration? This is fairly new ground for many, and there is a need for sensitization around the disabled in the workplace. How can we best manage such a process?
You know, Kashni, there's always a plus and there's always a minus. While some companies are embracing equity with open arms, unfortunately other companies are merely ticking off boxes because they have targets which they need to adhere to as per the Equity Act. And just an example, I came across an advert for a vacancy for a disabled person who must not be a disabled person who must not be able. I came across an article where it says that the disabled candidate required needs to be able to climb stairs, they need to be able to drive a car, and they must not be hearing impaired. Now, when you look at, you know, stipulations such as these, it's discrimination in its main form. So companies need to start ticking boxes, and we need to start embracing differently abled people because it's the right thing to do.
Tunusha, Able Consultancy, your brainchild. How did all that come about? It's been a phenomenal journey for you up to this point, and an inspirational one from which many can draw lessons and strength. Can you just share something of that with us?
You know, it has been an incredible journey. After I graduated from university with 2 degrees, I was really excited to hit the labor market because I ticked all the boxes. I'm female, I'm black, I'm disabled, and I was ready to be asked to many interviews. But in reality, I was actually unemployed for 7 years, not able to find a job. And sadly, this is what many differently abled people all over South Africa face. Legislation is there, but implementation is not happening. And this is when I realized, you know, what is the problem? Why are companies so apprehensive? And it boils down to education. Companies need to understand how to deal with differently abled people. And once small bridges are gapped, integration and inclusion will become much more evident in South Africa.
Tunusha Naidu, motivational speaker, founder and director of Able Consulting. Thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk. Let's move on to